Okay, so this should be streaming to YouTube any second. Great. Okay, so I'm doing things a little bit better this evening. Yesterday was the first time, or basically the second time I've ever streamed live to YouTube. So I'm trying to do the right thing here and set it up properly from the beginning. So I'm first going to show this slide that we're looking at over here, which is what the guys that are watching this presentation or watching this session, it is just details on the strategy that we're going to be running. So we're running the one focused strategy, and that is the analytical bars strategy. So this group that we're using for these live sessions, the tools that we're using in these sessions are actually being shared as part of this package. So that's great, and we're getting the these live trading calls just to help people understand it better. Now, there are 4 subscriptions in the DTB system. The one that we're currently using now is the $29 subscription, which is for this one strategy and those tools that are included. But for those who are interested in the complete system of what DTB has to offer, we have over 30 indicators and strategies and different tools that can be used to trade effectively. And the next slide is just some risk disclosures, which I already should be showing. And they're standard. I've got them from NinjaTrader. So they basically cover, they basically help you understand what the different risks are associated with futures trading and trading in general for that matter. So these links, or the links to these documents, are on every video that I share, as well as on my website. Cool. So now that that is done, I'm just going to, I forgot to record the screen on my other setting. Okay, so that is great. Now I'm going to just get this out of the way. So I think if I press escape, it will disappear. I'm going to bring up my server details. Okay, so this is back on the VPS. Okay, so if we just, I'm going to just connect to my live data. I was disconnected because I just restarted NinjaTrader. So it's a very good idea to restart NinjaTrader at the beginning of every session or every trading day, just to refresh the platform. And this is where we are right now. Okay, great. So we're going to be using the same bar size that we've been using for the previous 2 sessions. So if you've been watching the previous 2 sessions, we ended off quite well on the first day. So over $900 on the NQ and over 140 odd, I think, on the MNQ. And then on day 2, we ended off on about $70 for the MNQ. And I think we ended off on minus 398 for the NQ for that session. So overall for the week so far, we're still way up. And we're hoping that this session goes well. And what we have done is we've actually stuck with the same bar size. So we're working on that. We're still using the same settings in the trailing stop.
And that's 50 and 1?
So the 51 bar size, yes. I'm going to be optimizing both.
50 and 1, Jason.
So say that again. Yeah, so the 50 and 1 is the bar size.
I just asking about bar size, so 50 and 1.
Magic. And the start date, so I'm just going to be, I'm still using the 8th. So I'm still using last Sunday, the open of the markets, which means it's going to take Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Monday, Tuesday of this week. It's going to be analyzing that data. And if you remember, we're going to be analyzing the data specifically between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. And that's when we're going to be activating the strategy for that specific time period. Okay, so those are the settings for the analyzer. 1 to 10 setting A, 1 to 10 setting B. We're going to be setting the repaints as true on all 4. I actually started running a test, running a setup with optimizing for 3 and 4. So if your system can handle that, it's a good idea to optimize number 3 and 4. It'll just take probably about 3 or 4 times longer to run. And that will just give you settings, whether those are true or false when the optimizer comes out. So very often setting 1 and 2 are the most profitable ones. Sometimes not having 3 and not having 4 are very good, or having 4 and not 3, or 3 and not 4. So basically what happens when you optimize is going to tell you whether those repaints, based on the history of what the market has been doing, that those are not the best ones to have active. So that's why we optimize different settings. Okay, so I'm optimizing from the 8th and I'm just selecting the 19th. So that's just the next day. I'm including commission and slippage. 3 is fine to use, max net profit. And I always just save that. I just change the date. So just so when if I have to optimize it again during the session, it's going to keep those new values that I put in there. I'm saving that, and then I'm going to click on run. So we've got 16,200 iterations that it's calculating.
Okay, so the first, second, third, and extra repaints are all true.
That's correct. So if you
and do we have time slot?
Yeah, so the time slot is the same. So the same template that you used yesterday, if you load up that template, it's going to pre-populate all those settings that we used yesterday. And then what you can do is basically just change the date on it to the next day. So I'll go from the top again while this optimization is running. We are using time slot 1. In fact, I can bring up the another window where I've got the optimizer, just another window, so it's clearer to see. Okay, so we're going to be using time slot 1. So with the time slots, for those new to the DTB system, you can set very specific trading hours that you want to trade to the minute. So you can select those hours in there. Now, always make sure that you're using AM hours first. So you can't put, for example, 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. That will not work. NinjaTrader does not allow that to happen. I've been through this with them. You have to put the AM hours first. So like here, we're going to be using 9 to 11. So it's very simple. But if you were going to trade, for example, from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m., as an example, you would have to go 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. And then you'll have to do the next one as 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. So then you'll have to use the 2 time slot sections and tick the box for both. So a little bit complicated and stuff, but unfortunately, that's just how it works. You can also, as another, if you did want to run a strategy, say you wanted to run the strategy from 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. till 3 a.m., you can always just activate your strategy to start from 6 p.m. and then just use the second slot and set it for much later. And then what you can do is go into your settings of NinjaTrader and actually choose an option there to close all of your positions at a specific time. And that's the only other way around that. So that's the tools and options. And you can actually select somewhere over here. I think it's automated trading. You can select to close off all of your positions at a specific time. So that's the other way of doing it. But if you've got stops and targets in your positions, you can still set your trading hours that you're going to work with, and all those positions will actually close off outside of those trading hours. Okay, so a bit of a long-winded explanation on the trading hours. So I'll move on. We are unable at this stage to optimize the daily stops and targets, so we're leaving them blank. Stop ticks and target ticks, we're not going to be using the standard stop ticks and target ticks. So stop ticks and target ticks, they are fixed. So they're going to be fixed values that you can put on in the strategy analyzer. So we're not using these specific ones because we are unable to move the stops and targets. They're literally put in place and they set there. So instead we're using the trailing stop. So by selecting the trailing stop, we're able to add in our trailing stop ticks and our target ticks when using the trailing stop. So those are also values that we are optimizing to see which settings are best for the bar size and the market conditions that have passed. And what that'll do is it'll give us the opportunity to move our stops and targets, as well as the price will trail according to what the optimizer has given us. We're not using an ATM strategy. So the ATM strategy, for those who are new to the system, that is the one that you can create on the charts trader, and you can set up multiple entries with multiple different trails, and it's quite a huge advantage working with the ATM interface. Just note that when you are using the ATM, the orders are being transferred to the ATM interface, so you're not going to see the results of those trades on the chart. So because we can't see the results and the strategy itself does not have any access or feedback from the ATM interface, we cannot use the ATM strategy interface in the optimization. Okay, moving on to the trading type. You could also optimize trend and reverse. So what that'll do is it'll run both the trend and the reverse settings, and it will work out, if we sold here instead of buy, what would the results be? So it's still going to have the same trading stops. It's still going to have all of those things in play. We're just doing trend because as soon as you add, if I added reverse to that, it's going to double the amount of iterations that the strategy is going to run. So that's fine if you're doing it a few hours before the session starts, but like we're doing it only a few minutes before, so we just have time to run the less values. And then we're only optimizing setting 1 to 10 and 1 to 10 for setting A and B, and we're not even using a tick delay. So pretty basic settings. We're optimizing the repaints and we're keeping the one bar size. So another thing that you can also do is you can optimize the data series and increase the bar size. So you can say, give me the best bar size between 51 or 101 and 51 based on all the retracement values and everything that I selected. And then what it'll do is it'll work out what is the best bar size that has worked for the previous week up until current day. So there's quite a few things that you can do within the strategy analyzer. But just note that whatever you are increasing it, it's going to increase the time of the results running. So with the value, like for example, if you were going to optimize the data value, you can say, I want to see between, actually, I want to see the results between 50 and 100, and I want to see that in increments of 10. So what it's going to do, it's going to evaluate the 101 bar, then it's going to evaluate the 91, the 81, 71 on all the previous days, and it's going to enter positions based on the signals of the strategy of all those optimized values, and it's going to work out what settings would have worked perfectly for that whole period, and it's going to give you those numbers. That adds a huge value to the amount of iterations that the analyzer is going to work with. So just bear in mind that if your system is not very strong or powerful, it's going to struggle with that. And the dates, and we always add slippage, so that is just going to help with reflecting the absolute best conditions. It's going to match the live conditions as closely as possible. And we're keeping 10 results. So that's basically a full rundown again of the analyzer settings. Good thing is once you have once you've set up all your settings, you can go and save them as different templates. Then you don't have to go and adjust all of those settings in the future, you just need to, you can just go template and then load it, and then they all pre-populate. And the exact same thing will happen when we complete this, the running of this optimization. The settings we can save as a template and then apply them straight onto the trading chart. Okay, so we're just about done over here. So this is our second week. That's, you know, since I started this this new group, just running these live sessions. So that is why we are still running on our sim account, because a lot of the guys that are following along with this program, focusing on the strategy, are all still getting to familiarize themselves with it. So I'm working with them and working with you guys to, you know, to achieve the results that you want to achieve, but first understanding the strategy itself, how the optimization works, and then seeing it work over time, seeing how the strategy actually enters positions, and then you can build confidence and then eventually transfer it to a live account and then work with it from there. Good thing too is we got, you know, by running these sessions, we have, we're not emotionally involved in the positions that are happening. So we can look at the chart from a different view, and we can actually see different levels and stuff which we might not notice if you're jumping straight into a live chart. So it gives you a bit of a perspective of what the conditions are, where the support and resistance levels are, and you kind of are climbing in slowly, but first understanding the whole picture before you go and focus on the live trades. So that's a really good way of doing it. It's like brain surgeon work. You don't just jump straight into it. Okay, so this is almost done. Perfect. Well, I'm seeing immediately that very similar settings are coming up as were from yesterday. Okay, so we'll quickly run through those. Okay, so for the MNQ, it's not surprising that the same settings will have come up from as was from previous days, because we have had every single day on the MNQ, we've just had a profit on that. So that is good. So we'll look at that one first. So on the right, we're going to see our drawdowns. We're going to see the amount of trades. We can look at the previous day. So if we look at the previous day, this is the setting that we used yesterday. So if you remember from yesterday, we actually made $78 during the trading day. So that's matching that from yesterday. I just want to check something on the summary. Yeah, for some reason, this commission is not reflecting. I do not know why that is the case. I do not know why that is the case. I noticed that earlier, and I have activated the commission and everything. So maybe there's something I missed that I didn't pay attention to. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at the amount of trades. Okay, so let's have a look at this again. So 41 trades. So basically you can take $50 off that. Let me just see. The funny thing is, yesterday when we did the trades, that after commissions had been factored in, we had still made the $70-odd. So that is a good thing. So what we'll do with this session is we're going to stick with, I mean, it doesn't make sense to change anything on there. So we've got a 6. We've actually got this one over here, which is 750. Or this one over here. So we'll look at these values here and just see which one looks better to actually use for the session coming up ahead. They're very similar. Now, I think what we'll do is we'll stick with this one over here. So a 690. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it and I'm going to go template and save. And I'm going to save that as MNQ live. So exactly what we did yesterday. Okay, perfect. And then we'll switch to the NQ. So NQ, it's funny, we avoided this one yesterday, the 4-5, because it was looking a bit flat, but then yesterday actually ended up being an exceptionally good day for it. 450. So these are all very similar. Wow, that one had a really good last few days, especially yesterday. That was extremely good. So let's work with $520. So we're not going to get a lot of positions by the look of it during the session. We've got about 50 positions yesterday. So maybe what we can do is switch to a setting over here that is entering a bit fewer positions, and then see how that goes for this session. So we can choose between that one over there, or we can look at one that's slightly more in the positions. Oh, that one's got too much. That one's got an exceptionally high rate yesterday, but not a hell of a lot before that. It seems like yesterday we just had an extremely huge spike in that going up. Whether that's going to continue for the day ahead, we're not obviously sure. I like to see something that's a bit more consistent. So we might just switch back to one of the higher ones over here. This one here has had a beautiful consistent run, especially for the last 2 days. And before then, pretty consistent in the values. So let's work with this one over here. So
I
this
didn't
is
get the
going to
same number.
The 520.
I'm gonna have to write this down because mine didn't come up with yours.
Yeah, so I mean, yours, like we mentioned yesterday, is going to have different settings based on what your speed is, your data speed and everything. But I'm going to save this anyway. So template save. And I'm going to call this the NQ live. So save and yes. And then I don't need to take a screenshot of it because we've got, we'll take that afterwards, no problem at all. So let's move this over, minimize that, and bring up our trading charts. So there's our trading charts from yesterday. We're going to apply them on the same ones that we had yesterday. So some test 1, some test 2. Okay. Okay, so strategies. So this is where we load them up. So we've got the strategy loaded there. We go template and we go load. We're going to choose the MNQ. And that's going to pre-populate all of those settings as they should. And we've actually got a 50 trading stop with a 60 target on this one. So this exact same as yesterday. I'm going to apply that. I always just like to look through the settings. You just never know. I just like to completely overview everything. Apply and okay, done. So that is the MNQ setup. And I'll do the same with the NQ. So template and load and NQ live chart. Again, I'm going to run through those settings. So we've got a 55 with a 60 on this one, 520. Enable and apply, and I'll click on the start. Good, so we've got 6 minutes to go before the market actually opens. We can have a look at what's been happening during the day. This is going to show us, if I scroll back to yesterday, it'll show us what positions the strategy would have entered had these settings been active yesterday. I'm going to remove all these drawing tools. Yes. So that just basically shows the positions from yesterday. So quite good for yesterday's performance. And we'll see how that transfers to today. So again, we've also got the Fibonacci levels all loaded. So in the indicator list, so part of what comes with this $29 package is the Fibonacci levels indicator, which is going to give us, you know, all the Fibonacci levels, which you'll notice during this session are also extremely, you know, accurate. Where are they now? Let me just see. It's under DTB. You've got the Fibonacci levels, and you've also got a trend following indicator. So the trend following indicator is more for the smaller bar sizes, so you can see what type of longer term trend is in play, and then you can also select whether you want your strategy to be running, you know, long positions only or short positions only, or both directions like it is at the moment. Okay. All right, so I'm also going to be just looking at I've logged on to the YouTube channel on the VPS2 on the side, so I can actually reply to comments. I know I missed a few comments yesterday, so just put in a quick message to show everybody that I'm there. So that's great. And I'll keep an eye out on that as we progress. So if there's anything that you would like answered on the call or on this session, I can do that, because we're not going to be entering any manual positions at all. It's all going to be completely automated on these two strategies that we've got running. And that is going to be that. So I'm going to just hide the chart trader to get them out of the way so we can see the screen a bit more. If you guys on YouTube are struggling with the bar sizes, I'm just going to increase that a little bit so it can be a little bit more clearer. And we're 2 minutes from the open. So I'm going to just stop my video so we can see the chart in its entirety. So now you can't see me picking my nose, you see? It's good. All right. Okay, so we're using the exact same bar size on both the NQ and the MNQ. Now, as I mentioned yesterday too, you will have slightly different bar formations of the price, and that is just because you're going to see that sometimes the NQ or MNQ moves a few ticks different to the NQ, but eventually will catch up. But if that means that the price went an extra tick to form a new baseline and the NQ didn't, that's when you're going to have a difference in the baselines. So still a cool thing to look at, because you've got two different perspectives of baselines, and then you can see how price is in relation to those, to the different levels available. So from this, what I'm looking at now, we're below the 50%. So that's the hourly Fibonacci. So the 50% of the hourly and the 50% of the 5 minutes.
So do you want us to ask our question through the chat, or do you mind that we're vocal?
Yeah, you can do it live. It's fine.
So on my NQ, I've got it running, or I had it running, but there's no previous data on it. You know, when I look back, there's no open, close positions.
And there's nothing at the bottom of the chart like this? So
Well,
do you have any like text at the bottom right of the chart to say the drawdown, the accuracy, and the profit?
I want to change that one.
So you notice on the bottom right of your chart, it's got the accuracy of the strategy settings that you've got loaded.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Have you got that?
Yeah. So it should be
Okay.
good to go.
So just right click on the chart and make
Okay,
sure.
I see it.
Make
I
sure
just
that
had to go way back.
okay. Yeah, you won't see. Yeah, that's the whole thing. You're not going to see the last positions because you actually have to scroll back to 11 a.m. yesterday. So because we've got specific trading hours on here, it's only trading from 9 till 11. So you will have to scroll back. Yes. Okay, good. So it's now live. It's going to start looking for positions because it's now within the time slot. So welcome to the call, Ed. I see you on there too. Great to have you.
Thank you. You have been listening for a while.
Great.
Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Jose.
So we should actually have some sort of a trading music on or something on the background, right? I just don't want to
Today,
put it
there's
on.
today's Fed FOCM report at 1. So just so you know,
So what time is that?
it's at 1 Central.
Oh, okay.
12.
So how long is that from now?
It's 4 hours.
Oh, okay. So we, yeah, okay. So we're not going to have, it's not going to impact this session. Great. So, as we discussed yesterday, you can be looking at the baselines that the price is forming. You can decide to take little scalping positions. So if you did want to take any scalping positions, I would probably do it on another chart. So I would duplicate, duplicate a new window and then create a new chart for that. And then you can enter your manual positions on there. Or the other option is you can actually pause the strategy. So if you click on this button over here, it will pause the strategy. Then it'll show a red button. And then you can take manual positions. And then when you want the automatic to take over, you just press the button again, the start button, and it will start automatically looking for positions. So that is something that the people can do. You can also duplicate in a new tab, and you can bring up another window, and then you can bring up what's happening on, a different size bar. You can look at different size bars. So this can be any value that you choose, whether it's a minute bar. Even if you go different values, you can see what's happening with the price. Generally you want to probably look at the longer periods. If you are going to be trading intraday like we're doing right now, the smaller bars are okay. You can also just look at a few different options too. This gives you a nice overview too of where the price has bounced off, where it's broken through, what levels have been strong in the past. And we can see that that is the price action from today so far. So the price has reached, I'll just bring this up on a larger chart actually. Expand it up. Okay, so I mean the minute charts are a little bit all over the place, but you can definitely see where price has, you know, come down. So we could earlier yesterday, we had the price at 1 p.m. come down to the 23.6 and 76.4. So there was a few different levels that it came and touched over there yesterday, and then came back, and and the rest of the time it's just been bouncing around. So we've just hit a new low for quite a while. And that's the new low at the moment. So different little things that you can look at. It's good to keep in mind what significant levels are around you, and then watch what price does around that. I wonder if I must do some research on if does anybody know, even on the YouTube, if you're watching, anybody know any like a link to like royalty-free music, whatever that can be playing in the background, so we're not hearing complete silence, something that's not going to get the video blocked or whatever. I'll look into that on the side. Okay. Oh, there's actually a whole a YouTube channel dedicated to this music. So let's put that up over here, move it on this window. Okay, so not much action happening yet on the live trading front. I just want to make sure that I've got this thing muted and I've got this one unmuted.
There will be in 21 minutes.
There'll be some action happening.
In 20 minutes now. Yeah, when the New York market opens.
That's it. When the market opens, it's gonna be flying. That's for sure.
Yeah, during Fed days, I've noticed that
Say that again.
during the Fed report, I've noticed that market is not as active as other days. That's something that I noticed before.
Yeah, I just missed the first few words of that.
Oh no, sorry. I was saying that I've noticed that when it's a Fed announcement, the market is a little bit slower than usual.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Now I don't have I've got an indicator that is the economic news indicator, and I will when I do the next update to this package, I'm actually going to include that indicator. And what that does is it just puts on the top right of the chart, it's going to tell you a list of all the news announcements that are going to happen and their times. So that's just a handy little indicator, because you can load it on the chart and it tells you immediately what's happening on the what news is coming up. Of course, you can also go and look at the website, which is Forex Factory. Forex Factory news. It's forexfactory.com. The calendar, and that's going to tell you what news announcements are coming up. So scroll down a bit. There we go. So it's going to tell us that we've got 10 a.m. We've got the mortgages, delinquencies. We've got the crude oil. So those are the two that's going to happen during our session. So not too huge announcements. That's mainly going to affect the Forex markets anyway. So that is something you can go look at during a session, but this indicator that I have is actually going to plot those on there too. So it's actually going to plot, it's going to tell you what those announcements are and their severity, and it pulls it from this website. So we will have a little bit of action around there, and hopefully it will create some good opportunities for us. So, as you're watching the the market, and it's quite slow, you can enter little scalping opportunities. So when the prices comes down like that, you can enter little scalping opportunities, and even if it's just like a 50 tick type of a situation where you are even smaller than 50 tick, just trading the price back to the baseline, like little things that you can do, and then having your stop the other side of any like significant support. So try to do it at least a 50-50 risk reward type of a thing. There's a much higher chance of the price returning to that baseline than to go break through a Fibonacci level. So little things to look out for that we can actually focus on. So what I'm going to be doing is this session over here. I'm not going to be doing any manual positions, but today is Wednesday in the US. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday morning in the US. I'm already flattening out after this week I've had. So I'm going to be trading Wednesday, and then tomorrow is Thursday. So Thursday morning, and that's the last session I'm going to be doing for the week, even though I don't trade on Fridays at all. But on the Thursday session, we can be taking scalping opportunities while we're waiting for the strategy to act. So we can take a few positions and then still see what the strategy itself has done, and then the others will just be like little bonuses. So we had a lot more action yesterday, in this time frame. I think we had a few trades entered already by this time. This session, not yet. So definitely in a bit of a downwards momentum at this stage. Price is testing out the 76.4. So if we go to the indicator and we look at the different Fibonacci levels and their colors, this one is going to be the deep pink, and that's the daily Fibonacci level. So that's the 76.4 on the daily Fibonacci level. Next one that's around there is the 23.6. And that is going to be on the 240-minute Fibonacci level. And then obviously the gray one that you're looking at, that's the 5-minute. So some strong levels over here. And the white one is the hourly Fibonacci levels. So, a lot of traders would be looking at this now and looking at this chart, whether it's 5-minute or 15-minute, and they'll be thinking, wow, this price has broken through the previous lows and they're going to sell. So that's what a lot of people will be doing. They'll be selling over there and they'll be putting their stops. If they're very smart, it'll be above the, if they longer term traders, they'll be doing it above the previous highs. But most people won't be doing that. They'll be putting their stops. I would venture to say, it's a bit tricky on this one. Probably over there. That's where most people will probably be putting their stops. Perhaps even a little bit higher over this candle here. And that's just, they're just looking at previous swing lows over here. They're looking at previous levels. So probably running it's a 78 tick. I don't know. It's maybe a bit high for most people. Looking at a 5-minute chart, they might be looking at it slightly different. But this is where a lot of people will be enticed to be selling. But what's happened by the look of it is the price has come down and got all those sellers, sucks all those sellers in. And a lot of them now will be in positions and the price has risen up. And we'll see what happens over here. So very often what will happen is the market will swing up quickly, take out stops, and then they could push the price down, or they could be pushing the price down, touching these strong Fibonacci levels, bouncing off the price, got so many people in sell orders, and then bam, wham it right up. So it's the exact same thing would have happened earlier over here, earlier in the day, is you would have had the price come down. It broke above the previous highs. So you would have had a lot of people put in their buy orders over there because the price has now reached a new high. It looks like it's going for the stars. And all they're doing is catching up some Fibonacci levels. They even came close to, what was that, this 50? Oh, you see you had big levels above that. You had a 50 and a 61.8. Or was that a 38? Actually, no, it's a 50. The 50% Fibonacci and the 61.8. So that is the 4-hour and the 1-hour Fibonacci levels. We're very close to that. So what's happened over there is, they came within a very short distance from those levels, 20 odd ticks, and then actually reverse the price. Go back to our trading chart. Still nothing happening yet. Okay, so another 9 minutes before the market opens. Let me just increase the size of this chart. I just wanted to check. I want to just check the levels of this. Come on. So I'm going to have to just do this. So that 15-minute setup is basically calculating from there.
Jason, can I ask a quick question?
Mm-hmm.
So when I was setting up my chart from the get-go, so I've already saved the strategy analyzer, I'm setting up my chart, and I go in there, and the only thing that I clicked differently was center chart or price on chart.
Yeah.
That will skew results.
Results of?
Well, so the difference is if I don't click center price on chart, I got the same results, and then I messed something up. I went back in there to reset my chart, and I thought, oh, well, I'll just do this at the beginning. And I collected center price on chart, and then I actually got different results when I opened the strategy on that chart.
So
that just seems odd.
Yeah, no, it is a bit odd. So just always got to look at your data series and just make sure that you've got the same date range. So you've got to make sure you've got the 18th of August and the bar size correct. And you've got break at end of day on. So all of that, if that is lined up, you can center price, you can do what you want on this chart. It will still give you those same results. So just switch between your analyzer and your chart and just make sure that, like, you've selected, you tick the box called break at end of day in the strategy analyzer as well. And
yeah, okay, I've got it now. I'm good.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we spent a lot of time on this last week to go through it, because there could be just little things that are missed, and then we could have different results. So it's very important to keep double checking and triple checking those things, and it'll become second nature very soon. I just want to check something here. So if I go this, so these Fibonacci levels are also programmed to look at specific sets of data, specific values in data. And as those times move on, especially on the smaller 5-minute chart, those levels are going to be adjusting a little bit as you go. But they're always going to remain current according to that set of data that's been analyzed. It's basically the beginning of the trading day. Is that? Let me just check. I just want to look at this again. Coming into 5 minutes before the market open. Okay. Let's keep an eye on this chart. It's amazing how from day to day we can have such different market conditions, and that's why you'll never get a strategy setting or a setting that will be continuously working week in and week out. That's why you got to keep constantly matching the market conditions. All right. So no fireworks yet. Give us 2 more minutes and we should see some movement. It's quite fascinating to see how these baselines form, price bouncing around. Very interesting. Our first position, MNQ. Shut up, music. Okay, so I'm going to just try to pause this music. So the MNQ has not been giving us a beautiful run at all. Really? Okay, so the MNQ has been struggling a little bit. So let's see. If I have another losing position on this one, I will just, what you can also do in this type of a thing is you can just go to your strategy analyzer again and look at your optimization. There's no harm in running your optimization again during the session. So what that'll do is it'll pick up all the latest results as well. And if you don't want to run the MNQ and the NQ, you can just pop the MNQ in there and then run that. And that'll be a much shorter run for the iterations. And you can actually do this at any time during the session. So you don't necessarily have to wait until it's over. You can actually run this optimization at any time in the session. So that's what we're going to be doing here. I'll just do that. Bring this in a little bit closer. Ah, come on, it's so hard doing this on one screen. So running just the NQ on its own is only going to be 8,100 iterations on that. We're in a winning position now, which is good. So we'll monitor what happens over there, but no harm in running it. There's no harm in running the optimizer more regularly to get a perspective of what is happening. Ah, we've got Jim Owen. So it would be nice to have trend or reverse displayed in the strategy display on the chart. So you're talking about like a button or something to say whether it's trend or reverse. Yeah, that could be an option. It does say it on top here, but it is very small. You see, you know, it tells you the settings on top of the chart where it says 6-9 trend. So that it does have that. It's just, yeah, it's not very big, but if you know where to look immediately, you can see where it is. We're going to be progressing to the stage where the strategy analyzer is going to be running in the background, and it's going to be giving us the settings on the chart of which are the current best ones. So I'm trying to get that one set up. It's going to require a lot more coding, and so yeah. But great. Okay, Jim, good. Suppose I could also make the button, I could make the button a bit larger. I mean, there's nothing, I can make these buttons a different size, and I can say they're trend, and I can put there in brackets trend or reverse, depending on what is selected. Actually, I don't think I can do that. I can look into it anyway. I can take the data off the chart. I mean, we don't necessarily have to see the text, so I can just leave that as markers. I think we've progressed enough to be able to, you know, tell that. We don't have to have that physically on the chart. Trying to unclutter it as much as possible, and especially with YouTube, it does not show it in high definition. It's very blurry. So for all those who are using the DTB system and you're on this $29 package, you've actually got a OneDrive folder where I'm saving the high definition version of this video that can be watched later. So if you're watching this now and it looks all grainy and you can't really see what's happening, that is definitely available in the OneDrive folder. So our MNQ has turned around a bit. So we've had a nice long winning position, and it seems like we're going to be in another large winning position. So it's had a bit of a recovery on that. So it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, you have to stop the strategy immediately when it starts having a few losing positions. It's possible that that can happen. But it's in the same time, it's a good idea to run the strategy analyzer. There's nothing, you know, and if you haven't got too many iterations running on your strategy analyzer, it's not too bad to have it running. It's good to have a look at your task manager though. So if you're looking at your task manager, it's good to keep an eye on that. So I always just keep that open on another screen just to make sure that I haven't got a huge, you know, a drain on the memory. Yeah, so have a look at, this is the latest strategy analyzer report. So as you can see, we had a nice run up, but the analyzer has factored in the trades that have lost. Now, I started running this analyzer before the new trades actually came into play, the winning trades. So if you go like this, this is where you can actually see the history of the positions. So I'll see if I can show this on the chart. I think it'll be good to see this. It's going to be a little bit tricky on here, but this is what it looks like. Come on, a little bit ahead, a little bit ahead. There we go. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. So this is how effective the strategy analyzer actually is. So you know that that you got the right things happening on your chart, because the strategy analyzer is showing you the same trades that failed on the strategy analyzer and at the same results on the actual trading chart. So you can go a step further in your analyzation and your optimization by optimizing up until current price, which is what this does. It has moved on a bit since we ran the optimizer, but it basically ran it after those losers happened, and it hasn't factored in the latest winning positions, and that's because it kind of closes off the optimization at the current time that you ran it. So the faster your computer is, the more it can handle. Those optimizations can be more current. So I can run it again, and however long it takes to run, and the price has moved on and has been significant, and there's been a few trades since that time, then the optimizer is going to show the results up until like right now. So I started the optimizer, running it again when the price was over here. So if more positions enter after this point, then the analyzer is not going to have those in its history, because it cuts it off at the specific time that you start running it. So that's something to remember. Another option that you can do, so I like this specific option to look at. You can duplicate this in a new tab, and then instead of running the entire weeks of data, you can actually run today's session only. So you can go and you can say, I'm going to look at what's happening today on the market, 18th. So 18th up until now, and you run that. And what's going to happen is it's only going to run today's data. So this is going to be lightning quick. And then what that's going to do, it's going to give you settings that is matching the last 2 hours since the market opened, or since we started running the strategy. And it's going to give you what are the best settings that are working right now at this very moment. What settings are giving you the absolute best results right now. And ideally, you want these results to be in your list of results on your other strategy analyzer. So if you're running your strategy analyzer, your main one that you're running, you can even increase. Let me just increase this page. So on your main strategy analyzer, when you're running it, you can choose how many results that you want. So it doesn't actually impact your system performance by displaying more results. So if you want to display more results there, and then during your session, you run specific results relating to today's data only. So as an example, if I look at this and I look at the chart, that's going to measure the trades that would have acted from 9 a.m. had these specific settings been active. So 490. And if I look at the chart, sorry, if I look at the trading chart, you're going to see that it had a 690. So the settings, that basically the heartbeat of the market has slightly shifted, from the 490 to now a 690. So you could look at those settings and switch to one of those. That's an option, but then just look at your, look at the trades, look at the trade that I've entered. So this is basically like hot swapping during the session. So hot swapping, you shouldn't have to do this too regularly, but that definitely can, you can do that during a session to switch over settings. There's a much higher percentage on these. So what I think I can do is, for the remainder of the session, is actually switch just the MNQ over. Wonder if I should do that. I didn't particularly want to do that. I wanted to particularly run one setting. So maybe we'll do that tomorrow if it's the case tomorrow. Just know that that option is basically available to use. So being able to switch settings, analyzing today's specific data. And even if you're doing this and 30 minutes after the market opens, you can actually monitor what's happening in the strategy analyzer and find settings that are giving you a very high probability and then apply them going forward. So that's what I basically do for the Asian session, is I optimize the data from the start of the current trading day. And then I'm trading that because that's the current heartbeat of that market for that specific session. Okay, so let's see. So this one is still running. It's taking a little bit longer due to this other optimizer that we ran. So I'm going to save this as a template too. I'm going to save this and I'm going to call it MNQ Live, and I'm going to call it number 2. So if I decide to switch it over, that's the one I'll select.
And to switch it over, you pause,
Yes.
and then go in and load the new one and then resume.
Correct. So you just pause the strategy, right click on the chart, go to your strategy and click on the box to disable it, go template, load, select that template, apply, and OK. Also not loving the results of the NQ at the moment. We've also had a little bit of a drop on that. A little bit unfortunate with this one specifically, because the trade went right up there and I think it missed its mark just by a few ticks, which happens, but it also didn't end up being a huge losing position because it came back down to this wick. And the next one unfortunately broke the baseline, and this one too. Oh my goodness. So having a look at the overall strategy performance, you can also see from there what the percentage is looking like. So yeah, we still have, overall, the 47% is still matching over here. So for the whole period from the 8th of August, if you're looking at the actual analysis of it, we've had this nice run up, but we just got a bit of a drop at the moment. And that's going to be perfectly natural in all strategies. You'll be very lucky to catch one that just goes up, 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 up all the time. But we want to make sure that this little downward spiral that it's on now is not going to be too much for us to handle.
Hi, everyone. It's John.
Hey, John. Welcome. We're having a great session here, by the way.
Hey, John.
Oh, yeah? Hi, Jake.
Not really. It hasn't been very,
Nope.
it hasn't been profitable.
I've got one starting at 10. I did I redid just on yesterday's data,
Okay.
and I came up with a strategy that only took 3 trades. They were all winners on the MNQ, just one contract, and I came up with $450.
Wow.
So I've kept it, I've saved it, and I'm just from 10 to 3:30. So I'll run it today again just to see.
Great.
Not too many trades, but
Great. Okay, so we had a winner there on the MNQ. Okay, so the latest optimization results have come up. So it's still telling us that the 690 is good, but look at the drawdown. So 221. This one is a little bit better with regards to the max drawdown property. However, they're not fantastic results. You know, if you're looking at the drawdown levels, and it might just be a case of changing the bar size type of thing, you know, to be able to work on a different bar size, but we're sticking to this bar size anyway. So we're going to see what happens there. So we're looking at these levels over here, these values. I think they're all showing a drop for today's specific results. If I look at all of these values in our optimizer, they've showed exceptionally good results. And then today, they're showing a bit of a drop down. So that's okay. So there's not too much I'm going to be doing there.
so you're using the same settings as yesterday?
That's what's happened. Yeah, the optimizer is still giving us as those are the most probable settings that have been effective.
Why do you have 2? Did you change you have 2 entries there?
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's
that
the same.
that has happened again. Remember yesterday we had that same thing happen?
Yeah. But
That has happened again. I don't know why that has happened again.
This time at least it's going the right way.
Yeah, yesterday we had 2 positions enter, and it it went against us, didn't it?
Yeah, both.
Both of them did. So that's why we didn't end up on a on a high value yesterday. So let's hope that this one does for us. So it'll be I'm going to watch the replay and I'm going to see what happened at that very instant that that it entered 2 positions. Was it because it could also be that the target and the target for the old entry and where the signal happened are like on the same tick.
Yeah, it's probably
so
right
that could be the situation over there where that that happened. Oh, I should have just been watching the YouTube cast, because that's about 30 seconds behind.
So YouTube is 30 seconds behind?
It's about that, yes.
Yeah. And Facebook, same thing?
It's also way behind, unfortunately. Amazing how this we did come to very strong levels over there. So if I was a bit more attentive to the to the chart, I would have actually exited that position over there because we hit the 50%. It's a very, very strong level. So,
I mean, it just came just like a tick.
Yeah,
that wick there, just
that is what happens. I think they might be onto us.
That's right.
One tick. It came within one tick. So that was great. That was just great. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Lovely. Exactly. It was exactly one tick away from the profit target. So that's what happens when you've got stops and targets in place. You've got that chance that where the stop could be and the new entry is that they could overlap at exactly the same second. So that's probably what we are experiencing there.
Yeah, it could be.
So this 50 level and the 61.8, so extremely strong levels. And it's amazing how the price went up to it and bounced straight off it. It like literally bounced off it.
Yeah. Especially with two contracts, maybe that's an occasion that you could have moved yours.
Yeah, I was looking at the analyzer instead.
I just noticed it.
Yeah, I mean, we do not have a very strong Fibonacci level there that it's coming up against. It's only at 23.6. So yeah, there we go. It exited out there. We've got our MNQ, this one over here too, that's not doing fantastically well for us. Jay, how have your trades been running on your side? Have you had any issues your side?
Yeah, I've had all kinds of issues. I had two screens open per underlying, and I forgot one was just for manual trading, like you said, but then I got them mixed up and started playing around, and so I'm just now reloading them.
Okay, so I've just noticed too now that it's picked up that position from there and it's closed out those ones. So I'm not sure what's going on there with this. I think that because of those two positions in play, they may have just impacted this a little bit. So what I'll just do with this is I want to exit this position. I want the stop to, the target to exit the position. So I'll move it above the 38.2 just because that's quite a strong level over there. And let's just hope it doesn't go up to the top one, but it should at least come back and touch this. Okay, so it's done that. So we're in no position at the moment. So now when it enters a position again, it should just be the 1. So definitely earlier, it must have hit the target, the stop, and the new entry at the same time. I will have to look into that. Quite a lot of levels behind you. So with the MNQ over here, I probably would also move my stop on that one, just because the price, if you look at these Fibonacci levels, there's a lot of resistance down here, a lot of resistance. So that's what you can do just to protect yourself a little bit, especially if you've had a few trades where it's gone against you a bit. There's still nothing, doesn't mean that it's definitely not going to go through this level, but it's just, there's a high chance that the price is going to bounce off this level, then break through it. There's a much bigger gap above the price. So over here, there's a much bigger gap for the price to move in above these levels. There's a lot of levels below where they could suffer. So again, I am trading this as much as possible on fully automated. So that's why I haven't been exiting positions randomly. But I think there are times where you should be exiting positions, and especially if I go back and I evaluate what happened over there on the top, extremely strong resistance levels, and that's a time to definitely exit a position, rather than just waiting for a few more ticks to go and hit its target. Unfortunately, we missed it by like 1 tick, but that's what happens in this game, eh? You don't judge it by a few little decisions. You just keep at it and make it work out for yourself.
Jason, thank you very much. I'm at my hard stop, got to go. So thanks again, and we will connect, I guess, tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much, Jay. Have a good one.
Bye, Jay.
Bye, Ed. Bye, John.
So we've got an hour left of this session. So we've got some big news happening now at 10 and at 10:30. Well, not big news. We just got some news happening. So we should see some action in the market. And so you're only running your strategy from later on, right? John?
So yeah, I just started from 10 o'clock.
Okay, from 10. Okay, good.
From 10, and there's no positions at the moment.
Yeah. So I mean, again, over here, we literally have this, these Fibonacci levels. So it's taken a short, but I'm still not convinced that this price is going to be going up. I mean, coming down, should I say? There's more of a chance of this price coming up than it's actually coming down. And look what's happened on if you're looking at the 15-minute chart. So now even if you trade the minute charts and you really like the minute charts, those are paying attention to those levels too are very cool to look at. We knew that was a very strong level there, the 61.8 and the 50, very, very powerful levels. And it basically sucks people into buying, including my strategy. But if you were looking at that manually,
yeah, that's right.
It sucked. Actually, it didn't buy over there. My strategy actually bought a lot lower. It actually bought over here, and the target was over there, just above this.
Yeah,
so it just failed it by very, very slightly. But again, I should really have just moved that target below the 61.
Yeah, at that point, yeah,
Yeah, so that is
Especially
what
with
you
two
do.
contracts that was over $500.
Correct. Yeah, correct. But yesterday I let the losers run when there was two contracts in losses. I let them run. So I thought I'll just do the same with these ones. It didn't pan out exactly, but you know, that is the what happens, eh? So instead of making $600, we actually lost whatever, $50.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll switch back to the trading chart. Let's see. So yeah, exactly what I thought was going to happen over there is, you know, bouncing off these Fibonacci levels. We're probably going to have a little bit of bouncing around the zone over here because it failed to break through there. And it failed to come and break through here. So my optimizer is still giving me those settings. The draw, you know, the max net profit and the drawdown, I mean, they're not fantastic values. And that's just because today we've had quite a few positions go against us. But overall, that was still the case. Now, we didn't look at optimizing the different repaints, but we're not going to do that anyway this session. I did look at the second value in the analyzer. So that was looking at today's data as again. So I'll run that and see what that looks like and check that out in a moment. Okay, so we're in another sell position. This one just keeps wanting to sell.
Yes, I'm also in a sell position.
Okay. Do you have your Fibonacci levels loaded also on your chart?
Yes, I just remembered to put them on. Yes.
Great.
Yeah, that 50% really.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to click on the pause button. So you notice how I clicked the pause button, it exited the position and put the strategy on pause.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just look at my strategy analyzer. It's reevaluated what this specific session has done. It's reevaluated and it's basically saved this. So if I go to, if I save this, I go template and I go save and I can go MNQ live 2, save, yes. What I can basically do is I'm going to duplicate this one in a new tab. And I'm going to go to my strategy over here and I'm going to load that strategy. I don't want to deactivate the previous one completely because I want to keep the results. So I'm going to add this to this chart instead. So obviously, if you're trading your own account and doing whatever, you can
and
do it on the same chart.
Your basic, what's the difference? You just
so I ran optimization for today's data.
Okay.
So similar to what you did over there.
Okay.
And I'm going to keep it to the same account. Oh, subtest 1. I must make sure I choose the same one. And then enable that. Apply. Okay. Now, this is showing a history of all the previous days, but for today, it showed 100% accuracy. So you see how, those are the trades that had entered today. So the current heartbeat of the market right now is that. So I'm going to run it on that chart and see what's going, but I'm also going to just activate this one again because this is the one that we're actually watching. Okay, so that's entered a long over there. So, wow, it's exactly what I thought was going to happen with this. It was really bouncing off over here. But now, is it going to be coming back up to this level? Crap, I think I have messed something up here. Sim test 2. Oh, Jason, what have you done? Sim test 1. Sim test 1, sim test 2. What have I done here? Oh, no, that's right, because that's an NQ contract and this is an MNQ. Okay, no, it's all good. It's all good. So I did move this target a bit down because of that strong level over there. So this is in a buy signal now, so I'm going to stick with what it's doing, being a buy signal, but at least I'm not going to wait for it to go right up to the 50%. I'll let it come near.
Okay.
And I'll do the same with the MNQ. I'll bring it below that level. So it may come and retest. It also may come and break right through, but it's good to have a bit of a safeguard there so you can be more sure that it's actually going to hit that target, or more likely to hit it than if it was the other side of those Fibonacci levels.
And the dotted lines that you have on your chart, those only print once the position is closed?
Yes, that's right.
Right.
So it'll immediately plot once the position is closed, wherever it is on the chart. So there we go. So those ones plotted. And this one over here, we're still waiting for this one to plot. I'm going to bring it down a little bit just to get it filled.
You don't want it. You don't want it. That happens like previously.
Yeah,
happened.
well, exactly. Just because we know that these levels are very strong levels. So don't be, there's a much higher chance of the price bouncing off those levels and going through. So that's not being like irresponsible with taking, or that's not being too conservative by just moving your stops and your targets below those levels.
Mm-hmm.
It's rather being safer than anything else. But we are more than likely going to get a breakout in a direction soon, because the price has really been floating around the zone. If I bring up a 15-minute chart over here, I'm trying to just see what the different levels are. We've kind of been floating around this zone over here. So I'm looking at the strong Fibonacci levels. So between the 61.8 and these ones over here, I would say these are the levels that have been the most, the strongest ones for the last few hours. And I can even go as far as there. So it came back down. So it came and tested earlier. And you've got this level. So we more than likely going to have a breakout in a direction.
Yeah, that's right. It's just ranging up to now, but
yeah,
needs a breakout.
Exactly. It depends which of these levels are stronger. if you look at this chart, if you look at this chart below, there's a lot more resistance below than above.
And above, right?
So I'm predicting that when we do have a breakout, it's going to be this way. At least to the 76. Oops, what the hell was that? At least to that level there. So, you know, we could see the price go up today to around about the 15,100 mark. So probably up until about over there, if not further. But you can bet though that if it breaks through this 15,106 mark, we're going to probably see the price go all the way up to the 1,540, 50, 60 mark. So somewhere around this level here is more than likely where the price is going to go if we have a breakout up. And if we look at that, if that is the case, then that is going to be a 830 tick range, which is 200 points. Now, we don't have the average daily range indicator as part of this package, but if you look at the average daily range setting and you look at what the average daily range is, you'll probably find that it's around the 200 point mark. So unfortunately, I don't have it on this machine, but when you're looking at the average daily range and you're seeing where price is more than likely to be going for the rest of the day, you got to say, for example, the price is coming up. I'm trying to make this a bit cleaner on the chart. Let me just see what I can do here. Little dots. Okay. So if the price breaks above this, okay, and it say the price hits over here, this level here, which is very likely because it's the next 61.8 level. For them to fulfill the average daily range, they have to move the price. Well, not have to, but they've got the choice to move the price another 169 ticks up with a little bit of resistance, or they have got to move the price from there all the way down through all of these resistance levels down over here, and even further than the low of the day, even further than that. Okay, so we're talking about to the about over there, 830 mark. So that's the average daily range. So they would have to push the price all the way down through all of these levels to fulfill the average daily range, or just push it up through a few smaller levels. So that is what
there's more. Yeah, there's more.
So it's much more likely that they're going to push the price up.
Yeah.
So that's where the average daily range indicator comes into play. And especially later in the session, you can kind of predict where more likely the price is going to be going. Let me just move this. I know there's a lot of lines and stuff on the chart and stuff like that, but it is good to look at. Again, we had a buy signal. So I was looking at another chart. Again, we had a buy signal over there. So I really should have put my stop right up there, or even my target, or actually disabled the long only. So kept it on short, or kept it on short only as an option. So this here is very likely to be going down because it's again failed at the 61.8. But we just looked earlier and we said they're probably going to push this price up. So we don't know how long it's going to be coming down for. It might just be a short while. They might come and retest the 61.8 sooner rather than later.
Yeah, those levels really come into play.
Yes. Oh, Adam, thank you, Adam. Adam Perez on the YouTube said the average is 233. So that's points, right? Yes, that's very close. Very, very close to what I thought. So yeah, so they basically have to push the price up to the 15.1. What did we say it was again? 15.140, 50, 60, 70. So somewhere around this range.
Just below the 100%.
Yeah. So I would definitely say that if the price is going up, we're going to be inside this range sometime today. If it's going to be going down, then the price is going to end. We did the calculation earlier. It's even below this level. Shit, I can't remember where I put it. And that's just for them to fulfill the average daily range. I can't remember exactly where it was. Somewhere over there. So, I mean, I'm not loving that, you know, we're in this specific zone right now, because it's really in that intermediary type of thing of deciding where it wants to go. They're probably going to be retesting and retesting and retesting, taking out stops until they can push this price right through. So no lightning bolts on today's session, unfortunately. I think if you can be dedicated to running a session like this, even for an entire week where you're really focused on, you know, paying attention to levels, and you've really focused on, you know, seeing where those levels are going forward, that's an amazing skill to work with. And then, you know, you can manage your positions very well, even on a fully automated strategy.
Yeah, especially when the market is just ranging or range bound. If it's trending up or down, maybe it's much easier to just put on long only or short only and let it run. But these levels really come into play when it's just bouncing off of them. Yeah.
See, I mean, exactly. So we between the 61.850 and the 38.2. So, you know, they would love just to bounce the price around. I mean, they're making so much money while they're doing that, you know. And then they decide, okay, that's it, we're going up or we're going down or whatever. But for me, I would say we're going down. I mean, we're going to be going up. They're just playing around with us right now. That's good. I mean, I'll leave this position in play because it's not too far away. I mean, it's a decent enough distance away from the 38. So that's not bad. So, you know, like there, I resisted the temptation of moving my target up You have to try and resist that temptation of moving your targets.
Right.
Rather move your stops. Rather be stopped out at a position, but your targets, let the price run and hit your targets, unless obviously it's beyond a level that is very unlikely. Like I would not like that level was beyond the 38. If it was beyond the 38, I would move it over there. So that's what you would do. And the same with the top. If it's above strong levels, you just put it below. So now with this price now, I mean, there's a very high likelihood that this is going to break up rather than break down, just because of these Fibonacci levels. And you just take a few of those trades, during a session like this, and you do a 50-50 risk reward type of a thing, and you say, I'm going to target my 50 ticks or 40 or whatever, 50 ticks, and I'm going to have a 50 tick stop like that. And you don't even have to have a 50 tick stop. You can say, you know what, I'm going to take that gamble on that, and I'm going to put my stop just below the 38 like this, but I'm going to target the next baseline, which is over there. So if you do a few trades like that, where you've got like a 34 tick stop, 35 tick stop, but then you've got your 50 target. Now you can even go 50, 51. You are more than like a 1-to-1 risk reward type of a situation. And more than likely, it's going to be in your favor 60, 70% of the time.
Or the bells.
So, and, also like this type of thing, I'm not going to specifically do it myself here, but, if the price is coming to a very strong level like this, and you don't want to be taking a chance on longs, just click on short only. Then the strategy will only enter short positions. It will not enter any long positions.
Yeah.
So that's why I put those in there. And obviously based on larger trends and stuff. So it's fascinating to see what they, what they're doing. They come down, take out stops before they're going to run this price up. It's almost like a playbook for them. They know exactly what they want to do. They want to make sure they take out enough stops though before they do it. And we've got 10:30, so we've got 30 minutes left of the session. I do not know what's going on over here. I've got 2 orders in play. That's what's happening here on the strategy. So when you've got 2 orders in play on like your one buy, one sell, if you've got a strategy,
you could have opposite positions.
Yeah. So the 2 strategies that I've got running have done opposite positions. So what will happen is it'll hit the stop or the target of the one. So these are targets. So as soon as this price hits the target, it'll be in a sell position automatically. And then that position will either go at a stop or it'll come back and hit its target.
Okay.
So you're basically in a flat position. If you're on a live trading account, you're in a flat position when you have a buy and a sell, obviously, but your stops and your targets are still going to be in play. And that's what's happened there. It changed signal and it's put both of them. Now they're both in a sell.
Okay, it changed it.
So it does update the the position. So you're not necessarily in a flat, because your stops and your targets are there, but then also if the signal changes though, it will change accordingly. So, you know, if you take these little scalping positions, like if I go and change this here and I go as properties and I go as dollar value, currency, apply, and okay. Now that's a $255 trade. And your properties for your stop would have been only so 170. So you got 255 target for 170 stop, or if that's micro, a 25 target for a $17 stop. You know, these are great little trades to take. Same thing with these. You know, you've got you can also
even up there if you're
the chance of it breaking up or down, same thing, exact same thing.
You would just open another chart with your live account and trade off of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So even if you don't want to run the strategies themselves, you know, on your live account, you can run the strategy on a sim account like we're doing over here, and then make your own trading decisions on your own live chart just by doing a few scalping positions. But ultimately, you know, you want to get to the stage where it can be run fully automated, and you have settings that you can run.
Yeah, that would be the ultimate goal.
Yes.
Just let it run.
But in those type of cases, it's just you know, you keep in mind that you could have weeks or days where you are down some days, and you just got to be able to handle that in your accounts.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why it's a very good idea to start with micros. Even if you've got a slightly larger account, start with micros on your fully automated trading. And that way you're not putting a lot of risk.
Not as much, yeah.
Yeah.
And still with micros, you can still, you know, like you showed, was it last week or on a micro account, you can still make a few $100s. If
Absolutely. Absolutely. See, with this one now, you know, again, it's more than likely, we don't know what's going to happen around here. I don't think it's going to break down too much. To me, it still looks like they're going to bring the price up, and these little spikes down are just to take out some stops, but their inclination is definitely up. So you can go and, you know, move some of your stops and your targets for that. And if you want to, you know, obviously pause it, but yeah, we're going to just let this run. But so the cool thing is you can go and move your things and just wait for the next signal to come up. Especially if you've had a good session. We haven't had a very good session. We're currently $31 down on our micro. Remember, we went down as low as 100 and something at one stage, 120. So that's how to recover, but our NQ has actually dropped down 800. So that's not what I was looking to achieve. But that's yeah, part of that was my fault though. Well, not really my fault. I could have helped that greatly by just managing it slightly.
Yeah, it's that those two positions that.
Yeah, so I guess with that type of thing, so what the thing is with this is we've got a 50 trailing stop and a 60 target. Now these baselines are 50 ticks. So that might be something to consider when looking at settings. So perhaps it'll be a good idea to have the target and the stop at least, you know, a bigger value than the baseline itself.
Okay.
So perhaps even going to a 70, 80 as a target and a stop, or even or below that, like a 40 to 45 or 40 to 30 to 40. So that when the trade exits, either at a stop or a target, it's not right on the baseline where the next signal can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably something that we can work on.
Yeah,
So
because that too is
yeah.
how do you base yourself on the number of ticks to the baseline? It's just
we just came up with a number. So earlier in the week we worked on, last week actually, we worked on the a few different baseline sizes, and we went on 50. But that doesn't mean that that's the best one to use. You know, it doesn't at all mean it's the best one to use. You know, we could, you know, for all we know, a much better one to use could have been the like even like a 75 one, or a, you know, a 95 one, or even a 100 one. It could have been a better one to use. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's not like we just selected one specific one and worked with that.
Work with that, yeah. But,
and optimize that. So we optimize settings based on that one. But if you're looking at different baselines, like this one is a 101 chart, and I will just remove the indicator on there. I'll remove the trend following. We don't need that on this chart. But on this one, you know, looking at a chart like this, there is obviously a lot more baselines. There's a lot fewer baselines, but there could be lots of signals on these baselines chasing targets. So yeah, that's another opportunity, another one to look at, where you could be entering positions and you can have 100 tick target and 100 tick you know, targets and stops and all of that. So those type of things can be taken into consideration. You know, like over here, we had a few wicks where it came and hit the 38, hit the 38. Then we did have some that broke up. But a lot of the time, you're going to have these levels that you can put your positions on, and then you can either predict a baseline break going up. You can either, you know, you can sell and put your stop over there, and then you can take a trade back to the baseline. So those ones are not as you know, not as big risk reward ones, but that's when the price is like running a wick, running a baseline. Suppose better ones to take would be ones like this. So if you, I'm going to take one. Yeah, why not? Let's take one. Let's take one trade.
yeah, because it's closer to the.
So the 38. Oh yeah. So basically, what I would do is I would enter this position, and if you look at where the next baseline is, it's over there, and the current baseline where the price is more than likely to return to is there. So for this one here would have to go and break through the 50 to get to the next baseline. So if I put it I always put it slightly above that baseline, like that, or below, should I say? And that's taking a scalping trade. And yeah, unfortunately, as I say that, it's it's doing the opposite thing. But we still got very strong levels over there. So we've got very strong levels of resistance over there. But yeah, unfortunately, that one kicked us out.
I think there's somebody's playing around with, with us.
Someone's watching this and saying, we're going to show Jason. But you know, most of the time, 60, 70% of the time, you're going to get those. You're going to get those right. You're going to get those right. So we'll watch what happens around this 50, because this will be a good indication too, the 50 and the 38. So if this goes and breaks above and forms a new baseline above, then it's shown a clear failure at this level.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
chose the analytical strategy as have in the focus group, I know you have other strategies, but is this one? What was the
this
reason?
one is it's definitely the most profitable strategy that I've ever seen. And it does need to be understood a little bit more. It does need a bit of time working with it. And I do believe that it is one that you can set up and you can let it run unattended. So I was trying to get something that people can use, that they don't have to do too much work on it.
Too much work, okay.
So that's more what I was aiming at. So creating your bar size, working with that, and then letting it run. And it's worked fine for the last 2 sessions. Obviously we're not gonna. It'll be silly to think that every single day we're gonna be way up.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, correct.
But yeah, this is definitely the best strategy that exists out there with regards to automation, and it's just a matter of working with it. It's not a very complicated thing. It's only got 2 main settings to work with: the setting the A and the B, and then your repaints, which are all automatic there anyway. And then it's just working with the bar size. So it's reasonably simple, but still.
Yeah, once you've done it a few times, it's not complicated. It's the first
Yeah.
The
Exactly.
learning curve is at the beginning is a little, you have to understand, because it works a little differently than normal chart, but
Yeah, correct.
it's not that complicated once you.
And ideally, I'm looking to open up the live trading rooms, and I'm going to have staff working in there running these specific strategies live, like we're doing here. So this is a good test run for me too, in doing that.
Okay.
So I'm putting myself in a situation where I'm doing live sessions, because I'm going to be showing these videos to my staff in the near future, and get them to replicate the way it's run, what's been discussed, what's been explained, how it's been explained, and all that.
Mm-hmm. And so in the live trading room, you'd be trading live?
Yes,
correct?
definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
So the idea is to have this set up in Dubai, which is where I'm going to be setting it up. And at least they can look after the whole of Europe, and then also the Americas. And then I'm going to have these guys trading specific instruments depending on people's account sizes. So we might even have an MES session. We can have MNQs. We'll have the NQs. We'll separate the micros and the larger accounts, so that it's really focused on specific account, people with specific balances. So it'll be more tailored to that. So I'm aiming to have at least 3 or 4 different people on live streams during different times of the day, and also the New York session, or depending where people are situated, and have them all very well supported. And then there's the whole copy trade system that we haven't even ventured into yet, which will be another system going forward.
That would be, yeah, I know there's a lot of copy trades.
Yeah.
I've done it also for Forex and
Exactly.
crypto.
So there's a lot, there's such a huge possibility and opportunity with this down the track. And that's one of the reasons why I'm running this too.
Okay. Well, it sounds great. If it's something that that could be successful, would be great.
Yeah, and then, we're going to have much more powerful systems to work off too, so we can run proper optimizations. We'll be running optimizations during the day too, because we haven't we haven't been looking at different bar sizes and different options with the optimization. So
yeah, that too. It's
as soon as
just, yeah,
exactly, we're barely touching the surface with this actually. But if I can get guys to be running different optimizations on their different systems, trying different bar sizes, then there can be a consensus at the end before every session, after the meeting with all the traders, and decide which are the best bar sizes to work with, which have given the best results, what repaints have been the most popular. So there's quite a lot of things that can be discussed and evaluated first before we start live sessions, and then using the best possible bar sizes, the best possible settings, and then giving the guys phenomenal results.
mm-hmm.
So we literally approaching 11 a.m. So we're going very close to market close. So like over here, I would do, like a sell, and then you can just do small little scalping positions back to the baseline like that. We're on a 38 over here. We're on a 38. The price has been really just floating around this level over here. I don't want to have a large stop, so I'll just be putting it over there. I still believe that this price is going to shoot up though, so it's just hopefully not on this specific wick. All we need to have is for this price to this wick to return to the baseline. And then we sort it, but it may go and break up.
Might be someone that doesn't like you, Jason. It's gonna he's pushing it up.
Yeah,
But still not there.
yeah. I mean, it's held above the 38. It's definitely held. It's held above since I entered. So we'll switch that one and see what's happening on the MNQ. So
Some days are really difficult to trade also. It's just if the market is not really hasn't decided.
I mean, the market does what it does. You can never say it's like, it's the market. It's just you got to just take higher probability type of positions, and sometimes you're going to get them wrong. You're going to have a high percentage of them work out, and that's it. So So probably this price, if it was coming down back to these levels, that would have been maybe a bit of a smarter one to jump in. you know, but that could very well have just come back and been okay, and the next candle could have gone up. That's just what happens in the markets. Just notice if you are making, if your averages are low down, then just be a bit selective of when you do enter positions like that.
Yes.
Okay, so let's just have a look. I want to just have a look at the strategy. So strategy performance, we're going to go real time. And that is the strategy that we started the session with. So it's very sad that we actually it's very sad that we ended up down, because the last 2 days we were 148 up. We made 148 and then 80 something yesterday, or 70 something yesterday. So this day is 20 down. So it's not terrible. We're still way up. However, on this one, if I go strategy performance and real time, this is the one that's actually been a thorn in my side today.
Yeah, it's a little.
And unfortunately, part of that was a $500 plus.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
One, which is you know, yeah. So that's our trades. So we started off with a one winning position, and then we had losers after that. So all in all, we are probably break even for the week on the NQ. Actually, are we? If I look at the previous performance, we are actually up a bit, I think, still. I'll quickly bring it up because we've got 5 minutes before the end of the session. Let me just see. Okay, so our 16th, we had $919 made. Oh, okay, we're actually down then. So 900 up on our first day, and we were 400 down on our second day. Yeah, okay, so we are a bit down for the week so far on that. Oh, so this is where I wanted to enter the position earlier. You see, this is more of a probability situation where this price is going to return to at least to that baseline.
The base, okay.
And dare I say that that's not going to happen, but for me that is a higher probability of happening.
Yeah, because there's more support there. There's more.
I was waiting for this. Yeah, so that's probably would have been a better option to do than the one earlier, coming back down. So what is this one? This one is a 26 and a 40. Oh, that's not good. I don't like that. The odds on that. So, but you also don't want to be moving it to that side of the wick. Yeah, so I'll just monitor this for the next few seconds. And then if it breaks down, which it has, yeah, I'll leave it over there then. We'll see how this 50 holds up. Now, the automatic strategies will be exiting. If there's no open positions at the moment, but See, like with this one over here, you know, it's probably good just to, oh, hang on, I pressed the wrong one. I did the wrong one. With this one over here, it's probably just to exit it as soon as possible, because it's probably just coming to retest the 50. So get out of that before you hit my stop. Oh, great. If I dragged it below the price, it would actually just exit there too. So there we go. It's going to knock me out anyway. That 50% is so strong, you know, that 50% is so strong. Yeah. Anyway, it's 11 p.m. in a minute. So I guess they are going to just bring in the price back to that 50%.
It might eventually go up, like you mentioned before. It's just
great. Okay. I'll leave it at that. There's no other positions at all that are open. So yeah, unfortunately not the greatest session, but we'll pick up maybe tomorrow again.
Maybe tomorrow might be better. So
yeah. But it's really comforting to know that these levels are extremely effective. So
yeah, they really
we'll use them more tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll use them more in our trading decisions, and we'll work with the long only, the short only. So we'll go a little bit more in depth tomorrow.
Especially if you have two positions open at once, then maybe, you know, like previously, if you're reaching a certain level and you're in profit, then maybe it's, in that case, it's better to try and get take profits and get out.
Yeah, but again, you don't want to be moving your stops and targets too much.
No,
but yeah, I know in that type of situation, definitely yes. If it's acting in a way that it's entering more positions than what it should have, definitely get out of it.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I because it's been two yesterday, one today, and they all.
Correct. They actually all were against us. So yeah.
So it makes a difference.
That's basically like $1,500 in 2 days from those three positions.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Can make a huge difference to what happens. But you know, but that's okay. You know, if you're not, if you've got a decent trading account of a few $1,000s, you're not destroying your accounts by doing this.
Right. Yeah.
You're still being sensible. You know, we made a few decisions that we probably not the best of, but most people are making emotional trading, and they're down and they're entering more trades, and then they completely blow their account.
Yes.
And it happens so often.
Right.
But yeah, we do not want to have too many.
Yeah, you don't want to defeat the purpose of the strategy itself.
Exactly. I wanted to run the strategies, and I wanted them to be in control 90% of the time.
Right.
So that's what I've been doing. But anyway, we will tomorrow we'll have a bit more control over it. Like I said, we'll start working with the long only, the short only, which is why I designed the strategy to work like this. It wasn't designed, 100% to be left alone. These little controls over here make a huge difference in the functioning of the strategy.
But yeah, of course, if the market, there's some days that the markets are just trending up or just trending down. In that case, it would be logical to,
exactly
click on long only or short only.
Good. Yeah.
Okay, Jason.
Okay, thank you so much, guys, for jumping on the call, and I hope you guys learned a little bit from it.
Thank you, Jason.
It's a pleasure, and we shall see you tomorrow, same time. Okay.
Okay. Good night.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.
And thanks to all the guys on YouTube for watching and being there. It's there to review, and